plants, food and beverage, building automation is very popular in the recent years. And the cellular communication networks, they have some type of industrial control system to supervise the operation. We speak about manufacturing, public safety, sirens, and also smart cities. This presentation is very important because last week, on 5th of February, there was a cyber attack on a water organization, a water cleaning organization in Florida, and the attacker, we don't know exactly who did it, but it was a sophisticated attacker, and luckily nothing happened, but the intention was to poison the water. Similar attack happened in Israel in April 2020. So definitely attackers are looking into the industrial operation. Very important to tell me at the very beginning that when we are protecting IT operations, we are practically protecting data and money. When we are dealing with industrial operations like those which are listed, we are protecting physical operations from outage, and in worst case, attack may risk lives of people. So this is what we must remember. When attack is coming to industrial operation, lives of people are at risk, and this is the reason why we must make sure that the systems are properly protected. I would like to show this very simple chart, which shows how your organization is built. So in the bottom three layer, we see the industrial control system, the sensors, the programmable logic controllers. Above that, we have the process control and the operation HMI, human machine interface. Above that, we have the enterprise, which is the IT operation. I want to explain here that until 2010, the IT operation and the industrial operations were isolated. They were not connected because people were afraid of cyber attack. However, what happened in Iran in 2010, the Stuxnet attack on nuclear facility, it was an internal attack. And people realized that the air gap, the isolation between the IT and the industrial facility is not really protecting them. So in 2010, a major change happened, and people are now paying attention to securing industrial control systems, but also connecting the industrial operation to the IT operation. I would like to show you a very simple architecture of an industrial control system. You can see here what we call SCADA, supervisory control and data acquisition. We always have a computer, a communication network, a RTU, remote terminal unit, or a PLC, and then we have the water pump and the water reservoirs which are being controlled. So basically what you see on this picture are the three bottom layers of this triangle. The field installation in the bottom, about that the control, and then the operation HMI. Very important to protect these installations, because if something happens, you can have a spill of water, spill of sewage, or any other problem. When we are speaking about industrial control systems, we need to speak about the Internet of Things, because in recent years, we see strong penetration of the Internet of Things to our life. And I must explain that there are practically two terminologies. The IoT is practically for commercial operations, and the IIoT, industrial IoT, is for industrial applications. So the IoT is deployed for optimizing commercial processes. The industrial IoT is deployed for improved maintenance, minimizing damage when something might happen. So these are the differences. Obviously, it's the big topic, the IoT and IIoT. What is very important to know about this topic, that many people are today running to deploy IoT and IIoT. However, we need to remember that they increase the cyber attack surface. When we speak about the industrial control systems and the IoT and the IIoT, we must be aware of the changes which happened in the past years. So first of all, we must remember that majority of the installations worldwide are legacy type equipment, maybe 5, 10, 20, even 30 years old industrial control system, and nobody is changing them, meaning that they cannot be properly protected. Second, we are seeing the migration from serial protocols to TCP/IP protocols, and this creates a major problem because TCP/IP protocols are much better, but they are less secured than the old serial protocols. Finally, we need to talk about the commercial off-the-shelf. Commercial off-the-shelf meaning that these days we are buying the same computer for the industrial operation than the computer which we are using for a home or office operation. It's the same PC, the same Windows operating system, and this itself create a lot of problems. Little bit more details about the Internet of Things. So first of all, I would like to say that they are always deployed in unmanned locations, not in the building, not in the office, somewhere far away outside. The communication is in most cases cellular or wireless communication, and in many cases these installations are not secured. Another reason is that people who are buying these devices are buying low-cost devices which do not have encryption, they do not have authentication, and attackers may definitely cause trouble. Also, in a system, we see products from many vendors, and this itself cause a lot of problems. Furthermore, I would like to talk about also the IIoT devices. They are not new. We used IIoT devices many years ago. So similarly to the ICS, you will find a legacy type old products which cannot be properly protected, and this is the problem. Also, until now, there is no standard for using IoT and IIoT. I hope the standard will come next year or year after, but right now there is no standard, and this creates also a problem. When we speak about cybersecurity and cyber risks, we need to remember that there are three possibilities for cyber attacks. So there are many possibilities, but all of them are under three main directions. The first one is the internally generated cyber attack, when somebody is penetrating to the facility or to the office or inserting a USB device with the attacking tool. It's internally. And this is what happened in the Stuxnet event in 2010. It was an internal generated attack. Then we speak about externally generated cyber attack, okay, through the internet. And here we must remember that the attacker may stay 100 to 200 days in your IT network before he is detected. Finally, we need to speak about the supply chain related attack. Supply chain is the computers where you buy them, the software. But now, during the COVID-19 period, we must allow remote connection to industrial facility. And we don't know exactly who is connecting or which computer is connecting, and this is also a problem. And so supply chain related attack in the last year was very, very important to deal with them. When we speak about various type of attacks, what can happen? So first of all, we speak about financial damages to the organization, and people may shut down the operation. People can manipulate the database, can reduce the profit of the organization. But also we must speak about the industrial damages, the operation outage, damage to machinery, and as I said earlier, it can be also a risk to lives of people. So definitely cybersecurity is very, very important to deal with. Just I would like to shortly explain the different type of cyber attacks. There are many, but we need to speak about the man in the middle attack, when somebody is listening to the communication, somebody is modifying the message, and they maybe deliver wrong instruction to the pressure pump or to the temperature boiler, and something may happen. Then we need to speak about the denial of service or the distributed denial of service. Something what happened in 2016, that attackers may send a lot of messages to your servers and they shut down the access. We must talk about attacks where people are exfiltrating or stealing data. It happened in Israel. There was an insurance company about 2 months ago that the attackers took away the data from the computer and also encrypted the computer. So big problem what happened. And finally, as I mentioned earlier, damage and risk to life. So what can be done to protect our organization? We need to speak about complementing and compensating cyber security measures to protect the operation. This is obviously require a lot of explanation, longer time, but this is just an introduction session. When we speak about the cyber attack process, we need to know the term cyber kill chain. Actually, in the complete terminology, we call it Lockheed Martin cyber kill chain. It's the process. The attack is a process which is divided to 7 steps. The first step is that the attacker is collecting information on your organization, on the facility. He needs to understand what kind of attacking tool will be required. Then we speak about creating the attacking tool, the type of malware, the type of virus that must be delivered to the site of the victim. This is step number 3. Exploit, meaning that we exploit means that we take advantage of existing weakness in the system. Finally, malvertised the process. And the next step would be command and control, meaning the attacker can control your operation. He can increase the pressure, he can increase the temperature, whatever you want. And shortly after that, execution of the attack. The goals of the attackers are always stealing data, as I mentioned, for preparing a larger attack, causing operating outage and damage to equipment, in some cases risking lives of people. Very, very important. I would like to show a very simple diagram where you can see how the attacker is going from the right side where the attacker is sitting to the left side where the specific RTU or PLC is installed. So first of all, he's compromising the firewall between the internet and the IT operation. He's sitting in the IT operation about 150 to 200 days, as I mentioned, compromising the second firewall, and then finally getting to the PLC and causing the damage. So explanation of this chart will be a significant part of the longer training session. We need to speak about a very important topic. Why handling of industrial control system is difficult? Why we cannot have just a simple process and make sure that all will be fine? So first of all, what I already mentioned, that the systems are old and they cannot be updated and they cannot be upgraded. Second problem is that these systems are sensitive. You cannot interfere with the process. You cannot go into the industrial process and change something because you may cause a damage. A major problem is that many organizations do not have the expertise, the right people in the field of cybersecurity expertise for industrial facilities. And this is exactly the purpose of this training. Then obviously the water companies, electric companies, they are working 24 hours a day, 7 days and around the year. You cannot just stop it to perform maintenance. So what can we do? We can deploy all kinds of external complementing and compensating measures to improve the situation. So how are we protecting our facilities? Obviously, cyber defense is a significant profession, but you need to remember that the PPT triad, the PPT triangle. And in this triangle, we have 3 corners. On the top, we have the people. And this is the most important because people must be trained. They must be aware of cybersecurity risks, and these people must know which solution must be deployed in order to minimize the risk. Then we are speaking about the policies and procedures which organizations must have in order to protect the facilities, and on the right side we have the technologies. So how we are protecting our organization? Always through the PPT triad, people training, policies must be created and deployed, and technology and the suitable and correct technologies must be selected in order to create an effective cyber defense. Because if the cyber defense is not effective, then you obviously not achieve the result. I would like to show a very simple chart. It shows that there is no single cyber defense measure. There is no just one cyber defense measure which can protect you. This is the reason why we need to have layered defense. Layered defense means that initially we have the external perimeter where we have the physical security and the IT to internet firewall and the access control. Oh, this is external. Then we have endpoint security, the computers, the controllers, which must be protected. We need to speak about network security, but not the IT network, but the industrial network security, where we have all the control processes. And finally, in the center of this chart, we have the programmable logic controllers, remote terminal unit, computers, intelligent devices, and they must be protected. So how we are protecting our facility? We need to deliver specific defense for each zone. So what need to be done? We always need to be prepared. We need to be prepared that something might happen. We need to have people who know exactly what is installed, who know exactly what is the process which is going on in the facility. These people need to know how to shut down the operation when something happens, and they must do it right, and they must be prepared for the situation, for the attack, and they must know how to deal with the situation immediately after the attack. So what we say is the simple conclusion: if you do not assume that you are a target and not start searching for weaknesses, problems, vulnerabilities, you will never find it, and you will never be properly protected. I would like to speak a little bit about the longer workshop, because this is practically the goal, that people will understand what they can learn from a longer workshop. It's not very long. It's only for me 4 sessions of 4 hours. First of all, for those people who do not have the industrial control system background, the IT people, the various type of managers, we will have a whole session talking about what is the industrial control system, what are the industrial applications, how they are working, where are the problems, how an old system looks compared to a new system. And so in 4 hours, I can help you to know the basics of this protection. The second module, we are going to talk about the cybersecurity risks. I already mentioned the man in the middle, the distributed denial of service, and there are many more vectors. We need to understand how the attack vectors are working, how they are working for SCADA, how they are working for industrial IoT, and so on. We need to analyze the Lockheed Martin cyber kill chain, and I will also talk about a newer process, which is the MITRE ATT-CK. It is the most modern process for analyzing cybersecurity risks, specifically for larger organizations. And at the end of the day, we will have again a short summary and Q&A. Very important that people will have the opportunity to ask questions, and I will be able to explain all the answers, and do it not too fast, but allocate the necessary time for people to learn this topic. In the third session, we are going to actually talk about the cyber defense. The cyber defense, I already mentioned the PPT triad, what the people, the policies and technologies. So in this session, I'm primarily going to talk the technologies, because the other two are very simple, no need to spend time. We'll explain why training is important, but we are going to speak about the technologies. What is very important is to understand which technology can be deployed in each part of your system. Remember that the systems are very big. You can have a big power plant. You can have a big refinery. You can have a big water company. There are many computers, many industrial operations, different type of communication protocols, different type of communication media, wireless, wired, satellite. You can find everything. So we need to explain all these things. We will talk about the SOC, the SOAR, the SIM, all these modern facility. And again, we will have a Q&A at the end of the sessions. In the last module of 4 hours, we are going to talk about cybersecurity assessment. Assessment meaning to look at the system and find out where are the problems. I'm not speaking about penetration testing. I'm speaking about looking at the architecture, looking at the blueprint schematics, and find out where problems can happen. I will talk about many cyber attacks which happened worldwide. I already mentioned few, but we will talk more. And I will explain about the standard. The standard, the most famous standard is the ISGA 62443, internationally accepted standard. And I want to dedicate at least 2 hours to explain what are the principles. Obviously, training on 62443 takes a complete week, but we will dedicate to the 2 hours in order to you to learn about what are the principles, and they learn how to protect the system. Just one slide about the very important action, the vulnerability assessment. Assessment means that you need to learn about the weaknesses. You need to learn about the problems. You need to know what risk each vulnerability is creating. And you need to know what are your options to minimize the risk. It's the major topic, and we must dedicate the training enough time. We will talk about how we are preparing ourselves for business continuity, how we are preparing ourselves for disaster recovery, incident response. All these topics will be included in the training. Finally, I would like to summarize this very short introduction with a couple of messages. Put security goals into your specification. Deal only with vendors who take cybersecurity seriously, because this is very important. Do not compromise on requirement. Do not buy something inexpensive just to save money and not protecting properly your organization. And finally, we all need to be prepared for the unexpected. Cybersecurity 10 years ago, 5 years ago, last year, and next year, always different. The attackers are very creative. So we need to be ready for challenges and surprises. And only if your team, the people who are working in the water, electricity, manufacturing, and the other companies, if they learn this topic, they will be able to identify the problems. Hopefully, they will be able to identify the attack, and they stop the attack very quickly so damage will not happen. This is a short introduction on this very important topic. Obviously, feel free to ask any question, and feel free to raise what you think will be important for your organization to be included. Maybe there are topics which are important to you and I didn't include it, but we have at least we have several months, 2 months to prepare ourselves until we hopefully we will have a bigger seminar, workshop. The workshops are not big classes. They are limited to perhaps 25 people. And the reason is because we need to allow opportunity for people to understand the topic, learn, ask questions, and complete this workshop with significantly higher knowledge than what they come to this class. So this is the goal. I'm running these training sessions, as I said, in many organizations around the world, also through the ISGA organization, also through conferences, and hopefully that I will be your trainer to achieve this very important goal.
Okay, thank you, Daniel, for this clear presentation and rich explanation on the cybersecurity for ICAs. I have one question. Can I ask you now or in the
Sure, go ahead. Yes, please.
So we always say that human resources are the weakest jersey in the security chain. How can we do to remediate it?
Sorry, say again the question. Sorry.
We always say that human resources are the weakest jersey in the security chain. So how can we do to remediate it?
Absolutely, and I did mention it when we talk about the PPT triad, that people is on the top. When we are speaking about people, then we must remember that there are different type of people. People who can make a mistake, and the mistake can look like a cyber attack, and the operator is confused. People can be like what happened in Florida or what happened in Australia in 1998. Some person did not get the promotion or did not get increase in the salary, and he's causing a problem. And then we are talking about people who are sitting in the control room and they see something happen, but they don't know what is happening. So when we speak about people, obviously training and drills. And I cannot tell you if it's the 10-hour training or 2 days or 2 weeks. We need to look at the facility. We need to see what is the level of expertise which is needed and what are the risks. Because obviously, if you speak about a small water company in a small city, or you speak about the power plant, or you speak about the nuclear plant, it is not the same. So when we say training, the training must be tuned specifically for the organization, for the level of the risks. And this is what we need to do. So in some cases, we just provide a session like through PowerPoint. In some cases, we need to bring the people to a school so they can have some type of hands-on practicing. So definitely, this can be determined exactly when we are doing the assessment. So the purpose of the assessment is to define the risk, and based on the risk to make a plan how to reduce the risk and mitigate the attack possibility.
Yes. So the secret word is training.
Yes. Nothing new. We have been there 100 years ago.
yeah, I know.
Yes,
I know. So we have another question. I have a question for you, Daniel. Can we imagine to use the machine learning in cyber defense systems, where the machine learns all the attack strategies and adequate defense strategies, and maybe be very useful in strategy defense?
Actually, yes, because when you are looking at the complicated infrastructure, and you have controllers, you have communication networks, and you generate log like the syslog and others, and you bring all of them to the machine, which we call SIM. So what is the SIM doing? The SIM is analyzing all the logs, and this is a sort of machine learning process. Okay, and why we need machine learning? Because we must perform this task very fast. We don't have 5 minutes to understand what is happening. 5 minutes can be too late. We need to collect the log and bring it to the SIM, analyze and conduct machine learning, and then we can display the result on a dashboard, or we can send the result to the SOC room where we have the analyst. So this is analyst. This is very, very, very important question. Yes, machine learning is coming, and it is everywhere. And definitely, there is one important principle that we need to understand, that the SIM and the machine learning, somebody must teach them. They are not coming from the factory. You need to teach them how to analyze the logs. Why? Because the machines don't know. So you need to, the basic is always you need to understand the architecture of your operation. And when you understand the architecture, and when you conduct the cyber kill chain process, and you conduct the MITRE ATT CK process, you find out how an attack can happen. When you learn how an attack can happen, this is exactly the process that you create the machine learning. So the machine, definitely the machine learning can bring you the answer in a matter of seconds, and hopefully enough time to take an action. But I say it again, what does it mean to take action? You need to be trained to do how to shut down the operation, because if you make a mistake, you can make a higher damage than the cyber attack.
Okay, thank you. I have another question from Umayma Lashab. She said, are there any specific ISAM uses case related to the OT assets?
Absolutely, yes. In organizations, you have in big organizations, you have the SIM machine, which is conducting the machine learning, and you have a separate SIM for IT and the separate SIM for ICS. Even in Israel, the electric company has a HP SIM, and I can tell you it is not simple. To put the SIM into operation, it's the major work, because you need to teach that SIM how to do it. I can tell you that I translated from English to French my slides. It's the machine learning, and somebody learned how to do machine learning from English to French, and as you can see, the result is quite good. But why it is good? Because people who understand the English language and the French language, they knew how to design the machine learning process. So I can tell you that I translated these 24 slides in a matter of less than 1 minute.
Okay, thank you, Daniel, for this rich explanation. Maintenant, je cède la parole à M. Lionel, s'il a quelque chose à ajouter pour présenter sa partie. À vous, Lionel.
Ok, je remercie déjà M. Daniel et Raj pour cette présentation-là. Et aussi M. Alaoui. Et merci Dr Saïd. Donc voilà, je vais faire juste un bref résumé de tout ce que M. Daniel il a dit concernant tout ce qui est ICS, Cybersécurité. Donc déjà, le but de ce webinaire, déjà, c'est de cibler un public. On a un public cible qu'on a voulu se focaliser sur eux. Donc déjà, je m'adresse ici à la partie académique. Donc, s'il y a les académiciens avec nous du Maroc, et aussi aux ingénieurs et aux managers IT, tout ce qui est ingénieur ICS et OT, AOT, les entreprises industrielles. Donc voilà, comme vous dit, déjà, comme Daniel l'a dit, on observe une grande convergence des systèmes IT et OT, bien que cela n'est pas très visible en un sens. Mais déjà, on a une présence de deux systèmes qui essaient de s'imbriquer, qui essaient de s'imbriquer, qui sont interopérables. Donc, d'un côté, on a la partie IT, d'un côté, on a la partie OT. Maintenant, s'il faut voir les trois strates de la cybersécurité, quand je dis les trois strates, c'est les trois niveaux. Donc, ça veut dire la partie technique, la partie organisationnelle et la partie opérationnelle. Ce n'est pas la même façon de les gouverner. Donc, dans un premier temps, s'il faut, c'est deux systèmes qui sont séparés, mais qui convergent ensemble, qui essayent de s'imbriquer. Mais bien que, comme M. Daniel l'a dit, que dans les années passées, ces systèmes étaient vraiment séparés. Mais au fil du temps, ils essayent de converger parce qu'on a une hyperconvergence des systèmes, on a une interopérabilité des solutions, voilà, et une communication bidirectionnelle entre les équipes IT et OT. Bon, maintenant, s'il faut voir la partie organisationnelle, donc ça veut dire la cybersécurité de la partie IT et OT, on essaie d'évaluer, donc disons, parlons des standards par exemple. S'il faut voir organisationnel, si le côté IT, on travaille avec, disons, ISO, avec la norme ISO, donc disons la 27001 et tout, et BIOS aussi. Mais maintenant, s'il faut voir les standards de la partie OT, on a cette norme-là qui est la 62443, qui est une norme assez complexe, qui s'applique sur les systèmes industriels. Donc voilà, mais sauf que il y a une certaine approche entre les deux. Donc, ISO peut s'appliquer sur des systèmes industriels, mais sauf que les normes qui s'appliquent, les standards qui s'appliquent sur les systèmes industriels ne peuvent pas s'appliquer sur la partie IT. Donc, on a déjà cette différence-là. Mais maintenant, si on parle du côté, sur la partie la cybersécurité opérationnelle, donc c'est-à-dire la gestion de la supervision en temps réel, donc les outils ne sont pas les mêmes. Donc, d'un côté, on a s'il faut parler des équipes, des teams, d'un côté, on a un SOC Teams, d'un côté qui gère la partie cybersécurité avec les SOC, les SIMS, donc ça, c'est la partie IT. D'un autre côté, on a des ingénieurs SCADA qui s'occupent de la supervision de tout ce qui est des automates, des capteurs, tout ce qui est contrôleur. Déjà, ce n'est pas la même façon, le même système de fonctionnement. Parce que la partie IT, comment est-ce que le SIM fonctionne? Ce sont on installe des agents sur des postes, sur des terminaux qui vont collecter des informations, en fait, qui vont les corréler. Mais sauf que la manière de superviser le SCADA n'est pas pareille. Maintenant, s'il faut descendre dans la sous-couche, il faut voir au niveau protocolaire, par exemple. Les protocoles, ce n'est pas pareil. Parce que d'un côté, par exemple, on a des protocoles triviaux, donc FTP, HTTP, tout ce qui est SMB, voilà. Mais sauf qu'au niveau de l'OT, les protocoles ne sont pas pareils. On a du S7COM, on a des Mobus, c'est vraiment des systèmes qui sont diamétralement opposés. Mais à vue d'œil, ils essaient de converger. Donc, avec le temps, maintenant, avec des cyberattaques qui ne font que s'évoluer, qui deviennent de plus en plus complexes, on a des entités comme Kaspersky qui publient sur leur plateforme des convergences de ces différents systèmes-là. Donc, ça, c'est d'un point. Maintenant, la cible, c'est les étudiants et ces ingénieurs-là. Nous, l'objectif, c'est de les préparer de manière psychologique, de comprendre le risque. Comme Daniel a dit, le vrai travail à faire, c'est de former, c'est de faire des classes, de les former. Donc, de les sensibiliser. Ça, c'est le premier point. Avant même de commencer à déployer des grosses solutions de cybersécurité dans les entreprises, que ce soit les entreprises classiques, comme des banques et tout, et les entreprises industrielles, il faut d'abord que les managers, les ingénieurs cybersécurité et même les collaborateurs doivent comprendre c'est quoi la cybersécurité. Quel est le risque? Parce que de nos jours, il y a des managers qui ne connaissent même pas, ou bien des managers, ou bien qui ne maîtrisent pas le langage cyber. On va dire, c'est quoi une attaque DDoS? C'est quoi une man in the middle? C'est quoi? Donc, il y a cette culture-là qu'il faut d'abord s'imprégner. Donc, ça, c'est d'un. Maintenant, pour résumer le tout, par rapport à la présentation de M. Daniel, s'il faut citer quelques cyberattaques, donc on va parler il a parlé de SOPNet, qui est un vers, c'est un ransomware, qui se propage sur le système industriel via des clés. Il y a une clé USB qui est sur le système, qui va se propager sur le système. On a le fameux Triton, toujours qui est un ransomware. Et donc, ça, c'est tout ce qui est cyberattaque. Maintenant, s'il faut parler de... ce que je veux dire, attendez un peu, je prends. Donc, maintenant, s'il faut parler des solutions, déjà, ces systèmes, pour mieux les sécuriser, on doit les séparer. Donc, disons, si on a dans une entreprise ICS, donc disons avec la partie IT et OT, on doit séparer. Donc, des firewalls, on doit avoir des firewalls frontales et des firewalls dorsales. De telle manière que si le cyberattaque touche la partie IT, on doit être capable de limiter les dommages collatéraux pour ne pas arriver à la partie OT. Donc, c'est un peu ça le truc. Donc, c'est ça, donc ces formations-là, de les former. Donc, déjà, la présentation, j'ai demandé à Daniel de le faire à traduire en français pour que déjà tout le monde ait déjà cette visibilité-là en français, pour que ce soit plus facile et plus lisible. Bon, maintenant, avec les différents modules dans la formation, tout le monde pourra bien avoir cette culture-là, bien se former et bien comprendre c'est quoi, qu'est-ce qu'un automate, c'est quoi les capteurs, voilà, c'est quoi un contrôle à distance, quelles sont les vulnérabilités, parce que même s'il faut parler même des vulnérabilités, c'est pas pareil. Les vulnérabilités qui sont sur les systèmes conventionnels, les entreprises conventionnelles, ce n'est pas le même type de vulnérabilité qu'on va retrouver au niveau des entreprises ICS ou bien du côté OT. Par exemple, je prends le cas peut-être de SCADA. Les vulnérabilités sont beaucoup plus dans le sens de peut-être un plugin qui n'est pas mis à jour, par exemple. Un plugin SCADA qui n'est pas mis à jour, ça c'est une vulnérabilité. Mais sauf que les vulnérabilités de la partie IT ne sont pas pareilles. Là, on peut parler d'une vulnérabilité qui est liée à un protocole SMB qui permet d'attaquer le système. Donc, c'est ce jeu-là qu'il faut qu'on essaie de former les gens, qui essaient de comprendre. Maintenant, le public cible ici au Maroc, dans un premier temps, c'est les académiciens. Nous sommes déjà sur le terrain et on connaît la réalité. Déjà, les systèmes industriels sont des systèmes qui sont encore très embryonnaires. Donc, on n'a pas un public qui est assez trop focus là-dessus. Donc, maintenant, les nouveaux ingénieurs qui viennent de sortir de l'école, on veut les préparer de manière psychologique, de comprendre c'est quoi la réalité du terrain, c'est quoi le besoin, quel est le risque, donc avoir une certaine maturité. Maintenant, et par la suite, on va développer sur d'autres points qui sont les ingénieurs ICS et SCADA, les permettre de les former. Voilà, il y a beaucoup de choses, des modules, différents modules, il y a beaucoup de choses, il y a beaucoup d'informations à retenir dans ce sens-là. Donc voilà, c'est un peu ça le but de tout ça. Et voilà, donc nous préparons aussi une session ISGA. Dont la date va être programmée de manière ultérieure. Donc voilà, en gros, c'est un peu ça le but de cette première présentation. Donc il y a un bagage à consommer et on veut rassurer surtout les nouveaux ingénieurs des établissements, des universités, que le flux, c'est pas que les informations qu'ils reçoivent au niveau académique, ça ne doit pas les servir. Cette masse d'informations qu'ils reçoivent là, Donc, parce que maintenant, le domaine, au niveau, sur le plan, sur le travail, ça devient très sélectif. Donc maintenant, on va canaliser ces informations-là, voilà, pour les permettre de mieux appréhender le marché de l'emploi et de savoir quelles sont les réalités, quels sont les besoins, voilà, et donc de mieux les préparer sur le terrain. Donc en gros, c'est un peu ça le but de cette première introduction. Donc par la suite, il y aura des modules qui vont être décantés. Il y a les ateliers qu'on doit organiser normalement pour le mois d'avril, Inch'Allah, si tout se passe bien. Donc c'est un peu ça l'objectif de tout ça.
Ok, merci Lionel de ces explications.
Je vous en prie.
Effectivement, plus on cloisonne un système d'information, plus on peut le sécuriser. Initialement, les premières attaques qui étaient faites dans la notion de cybersécurité, on peut s'infiltrer à travers, par exemple, un service de messagerie, surtout le système d'information. Maintenant, on a cloisonné chaque service à part et on peut sécuriser un petit peu le système d'information d'une entreprise. Bien, voilà. J'ai une dernière question pour Monsieur Daniel. Daniel, I have a question for you from Ben Yahya Ali. He said that what extent can the risk assessment method applies to ISS be applied to ICC?
Risk assessment, what was the end of the question?
He said that to what extent can the risk assessment method apply to ISS be applied to ICS?
Well, the standard 62443 is specifically dealing with risk assessment. Risk assessment, evaluation, what is the level of the risk, and step-by-step understanding where is the risk and how the risk can be mitigated. So definitely it is recommended that to use the principles in the 62443 standard, it's paragraph 3.2. And during my session, the long session, I'm going to dedicate a whole process of how to perform risk assessment, okay? How to analyze risk. Then obviously the technical part, other process, but first of all, we need to understand where is the risk. Finally, you know, you can have a firewall, but if the firewall is not properly configured, you have a risk. In the risk assessment, you will not find it. Why? Because the firewall is there. But if it's not properly configured, then you have a big risk. So how to analyze the configuration of the firewall is another type of process. So what I always say, that the precondition before you do risk assessment, you must have a clear picture of how your industrial operation is working.
Okay, thank you. So, it's time to wrap up. I don't see any questions. If you want to add something, dear guests, final words or some advice of our passionate students in their fields?
Any question that you may have after that, please ask the participant to send me the questions, and for sure, in a very short time, I will reply to all of them.
Okay. Ok, donc merci messieurs de ce riche et très instructif webinaire. J'espère que ça a suscité des vocations et l'envie à certaines et certains de se frotter à la cybersécurité et au prochain webinaire. Merci l'assistance, merci Daniel et merci Lionel. Thank you. Thank you Daniel. See you at next webinar. You are welcome in Morocco.
Yes, I truly hope so.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Merci à vous aussi. Thank you.